Sup, gamers? Randy Potato here with a guide to the Shroud region Lair Boss, the Leviathan. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to subscribe. I post new videos every day. The Leviathan is a size 2 enemy with 155 HP, 5 speed, 50% bleed resist, 30% resist to the other dots, essentially immune to stun and move, and a death blow resistance of 25%. They have 1 turn per round, but they also have a couple free actions usable in certain scenarios. They will open every combat with a free action, Breath of the Sea, a non-damaging full party AoE, giving a 33% chance of a blind or a 67% chance of a vulnerable token, along with a chance of 1 stress. This ignores both blind on Leviathan and your own dodge. On their actual turn, they will use Eyes of the Storm, which will randomly hit 2 of your heroes for 3 to 7 damage, ignoring blind and dodge, though not stealth or guard, and will apply a Call of the Deep token that will come into play later. At the end of the first round, and any round where Leviathan's hand is not present, the Leviathan will utilize a free action to summon his hand, which is a size 2 enemy that will sit in rank 1. The Leviathan's hand is a 24 HP enemy with 4 speed, and 40% dot resist across the board, immunity to stun and move, and no death blow resistance. They have 2 actions per round, in addition to a free action at the start of the round. This represents the primary mechanic for this fight. The Leviathan's hand will open every round with a free action called Undertow if you don't already have a hero captured by this move. The skill targets a hero in the front 2 ranks with Call of the Deep. This skill ignores blind and dodge, however it does not ignore guard or stealth, so those are reasonable options to counter this boss. This skill will roll against your hero's move resist, making that the primary way to avoid being drugged by this move. If the Undertow is successful, your hero will be dragged underwater and unable to act, with the rest of your party moving forward 1 rank. The hero underwater will lose 4% of their HP and gain 1 stress for every round they spend underwater. To free your hero, you must kill the hand, at which point your hero will be returned to you in rank 1, and the process starts all over again. When the hand is active, the Leviathan will have just 1 action a round, where they will use Tidal Surge, a full party AoE doing 3 to 7 damage, a chance of adding barnacles, a chance of giving you the Algal Bloom disease, and a 50% chance of stress. The hand itself has 2 actions each round besides Undertow, where they can only use Batter, and Batter only targets heroes with a Call of the Deep token, dealing 6 to 8 damage, 1 stress, and shuffling that hero. Far and away the easiest way to counter this boss is to just not get taken by the hand forehead. There is basically only one surefire way to not get dragged, though a lot of different mechanisms for accomplishing that goal. Getting your move resist is the only reliable way to avoid the Undertow. Sergeant Path Man-at-Arms is the best hero far and away for this fight, since he comes with move resist already, and he has guard, one of the ways to block against Undertow. Poet Leper also has move resist, but without guard he can't defend a weaker hero from being snatched if they're already marked. You generally wait to see who is marked, and guard them turn 1 if necessary, or if you're lucky and Man-at-Arms becomes marked, then just let him tank that. With the hand unable to drag anyone, you will never lose the action economy advantage from losing the hero. Alternative methods if you don't run Man-at-Arms is to collect Ceremonial Drums, an in-item that buffs your move resist for an entire region. Stack a couple of these on any hero and they're good to go. You can even stack this on your whole front line if you have enough. If you know you want to hit up the Shroud, these should be on your shopping list starting from N1. There are also move resist trinkets, but they aren't really good enough for the guarantee. Of course, this is still a challenging fight, with the pretty scary damage output, so to take this fight you really need strong backline damage to complement your move resist. Wasting damage to keep destroying the hand, which will just be resummoned, is not a strong play. DOTs aren't great for melting the Leviathan himself, since he only acts once per round. Ideally, you're looking to pair your Man-at-Arms with some direct damage like Highwayman or Hellion. Now, if for some reason you fight the Leviathan without move resist, or if you just straight up get unlucky somehow and end up undertowed, you're in a whole different ballgame. You face the same attacks by the Leviathan in hand, but this time a man down and usually out of position. For this phase, DOTs are actually superior, since the hand has 2 actions per round. So ideally you keep both direct damage and DOTs on your team, which really you should be doing for all team comps anyway for balance purposes. However, if you constantly let your teams get undertow, you're letting a lot of your fate up to RNG, which is never a good spot to be in, so if you're not confident in having enough move resist to cheese through the fight, then just don't take it. Speaking of just not taking this fight, there are very few reasons for you to ever want to even attempt this boss. The Leviathan, besides being known as the hardest Lair Boss in the game, and the Shroud itself arguably the hardest region in the game, also comes with easily the worst rewards. His non-combat trophy, the Lashing Tides, is pretty good, letting you stack any combat item higher by 2. This is the only non-combat trophy still relevant in the mountain, and if you're correctly hoarding stuff like healing salves for the endgame, then this will always be relevant, and can be downright game-breaking for some items, like Ethereal Dust, but for the most part this is just less impactful than the other trophies who greatly add in the journey up to the mountain. Still, you're never exactly unhappy to see this. Beck and Call, his other trophy however, is a complete and utter disaster. You double your bleed damage, and bleed is far and away the least relevant dot in this game, with no heroes really specializing in it. If you happen to be running a pure bleed team, I guess you can come here and get some decent scaling, most notably with Berserker, though you will also get destroyed by the Leviathan himself in the fight. The downside, however, is the worst in the game by far for some reason, doubling the amount of bleed you take, and bleed is far and away the most common enemy DOT, being present in all regions. And the one act where the Shroud is actually a consideration because of the unique trinket that we'll discuss in a second, Act 4, is based entirely around bleed, including the boss, and this trophy nearly hands you an auto-loss condition. Just a disgraceful, shameful waste of a trophy. The unique Leviathan trinket is Sodden Sweater. This trinket gives you 50% bleed resist, and will heal you 10% for every time you resist bleed, and 50% move resist, which will reduce stress by 1 with every successful move resist. This is tailor-made for the Act 4 boss to hard counter all their mechanics. It's also not bad in other regions and bosses, though not in auto-equip. The problem, of course, is the unique Lair trinkets do not always drop, so sometimes you come here for literally no reason, but at least you can avoid the boss himself if you don't see it in the reward screen. The other Shroud region trinkets are all bleed-based, so again, you can come here if you have a bleed team, but bleed teams just suck. You're better off doing anything else, really. Overall, the Leviathan is the hardest Lair boss in the game, even if you stack move resist, which is essentially hard countering his mechanic. The rewards are an embarrassment, only being worthwhile for Act 4 teams, though one of the trophies might lead you to run, and bleed teams, which are a meme in the current build of the game. Just don't do it. Pretend the Shroud and this guide just don't exist, and you'll be happy. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to subscribe. I post new videos every day.